How has the evolution of performance analysis changed the way you've managed over the years?
Oh, massively. I think that back in '99 when I first joined Bolton, we bought Prozone and started using Prozone, which was in its infancy then, and of course with the lads that we worked with at the time, they had the technology, we had the experience in football, so we put together the way we were to, or wanted it actually presented, so it could be sort of read pretty simply by everybody, like, you know. So by the time 2003 came, I thought we were nearly there, and even since then they've added on other things, the fitness stats from Europe, other players that play in Europe, and what you might want to do in a scouting term now. So I think that the data has been absolutely a phenomenal change in the game of football, because as a coach and as a manager and as a player, this tool can only make you better. You can take out of it what you want. You can find your best performance at each area. You can find your best performance at fitness level. You can find your best performance in possession. You can find your best performance out of possession. You can find your best performance you had passing wise, how many passes you made successfully, how many tackles you made. And if you're dedicated enough as an individual, as a player, which I think you should know all that yourself. As a team point of view, from a manager and coach's point of view, it's more about sectioning it down into units and into individuals, defending, midfield, attacking. And from an opposition point of view, it's obviously clips on the data that you've gathered on what their strengths and weaknesses are, and you can then introduce that to the players visually, which means you don't have to spend as much time on the training field standing around just doing certain things that we used to do before we had Prozone.
How do you use Prozone in terms of preparing for a game and analysing your opponents at West Ham?
Well, I mean, our lads now sit in there in their analysis room now, and there's about 6 of them today. I'm not sure that's enough, to be honest with you, but they actually break down the scouting reports that we gather on the opposition, and then on what we've got from Prozone as well, and then put together that with some clips on the opposition, and then they will then get it into a position where it's probably around 15 minutes, no longer than that. As in terms of our sports psychologist, he said, you know, in terms of retention level, 15 minutes is a good period of time to hit and hammer home the sort of key factors and key points that you want to focus on. And of course, focusing on the strengths and weaknesses of the opposition is what you really want to do.
And how do you integrate the objectivity of performance data into the player recruitment process? It's quite simple, really. I think that after a long period of time of working at this, it was pretty difficult to ask your scouts to realise what a help Prozone might be to them, and they sort of sat back and didn't want to accept it as a fact that it might actually put them out of a job. And there's by no means whatsoever, and if other people think they can do it by just Prozone, then I think that they're foolish. I think the two married together, the scout that travels this country and Europe for you, that watches games live, with the data that you can get from Prozone put together, is a massive indicator for you to, first and foremost, not make the sort of mistakes that you might make. Because even though you've got a player that you're watching on a regular basis, sometimes that's not enough, and a bit more Prozone data adding to that gives you that little bit more in making that decision on whether you actually buy that player or not.